Hi, Judge, a procedure question. As I was saying earlier, I started this petition by simply filing a petition to modify child support. Then he has, through his counsel, Ms. Hendrickson has filed a petition to modify the parenting plan. From a logistics standpoint, my petition to modify child support is going to be factored into the modification of custody.
Obviously, I need to hear the petition to modify the parenting plan to determine how many days each one of them has to determine the child support.
And after that, I filed the petition for contempt. So it just seemed, counsel and I were talking, Ms. Hendrickson and I were talking about the fact that it seems just putting my client up and saying this is your income and then calling her back down and me calling him on the petition seems a little bit far-fetched in the fact that he should move on his petition because mine is encompassed in
Right.
the request for modification,
Well,
if the
then
courts
it seems
agree.
to me we hear the petition to modify the parenting plan first, and then we'll deal with the child support issue. So, Ms. Hendrickson, does either side wish to make an opening statement?
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning.
In this matter, I represent the father, Mr. Jones. As was mentioned earlier, this started in a petition to modify the child support, and we did file an answer to that in a counter petition to modify just only the residential schedule. So we're not asking to modify the designation of the permanent primary residential parent, nor the decision-making. And I did file, just I believe yesterday, a revised proposed parenting plan because there was an error in our first proposed parenting plan. We did not mean to request to change the decision-making of the parties. And so I would just like to begin, Judge, by saying that the parties here is in no way similar to the first parties. The parties are actually—
What you're saying is that the situation here is not like the last one?
There's no animosity much in the parties here. I actually commend the parties because they really work together, just looking at their text messaging, that's how they communicate primarily. There are some instances, very isolated instances, where my client had sent a not so good message to the parent, Mrs. Maples, but those are isolated, and I would say or submit to the court that within the past year or within even this year, they have been managing their co-parenting really well, to the point of even through the litigation, they have managed to agree on the Memorial Day weekend residential schedule and things of that nature. And so what we're want to bring to the court's attention is that there has been a material change in circumstances for the purpose of changing the residential schedule. Just among other things, majorly, my client is now working only 4 days a week instead of the 5 days a week. So that enabled him to spend more time, and he had made a conscious decision in the past 2 years to spend more time with the child. The child is now going to school. The past 2 years, he was about 2 years old when the parenting plan was established in 2017. So he started school, finished two years now. So his developmental needs have changed over time. Both parties are now married. Their respective spouses are very supportive of their co-parenting, which is great. Mrs. Maples have a child with Mr. Maples. My client's wife, Kirsten, is with child. She's expecting in a couple of months here. And you will hear from her hopefully today to testify. Mrs. Jones has an 11-year-old son. He is very close to the minor child that is the subject of this matter. And the minor child right now is 7 years old, I believe. His name is Fred. And also, we would submit that the parties, some 2 years ago, back in June or July of 2023, agreed the conversation was initiated by my client. He requested for more time, and in fact, he was represented by Ms. Smith, and they were trying to do mediation, but just didn't come to fruition. But however, via text, the parties talked about it, and Mrs. Maples, out of the abundance of her kindness, offered Thursday to Tuesday. So instead of the original Friday to Sunday, which is 2 nights every other week, my client has been getting the child Thursday to Tuesday every other week, 5 days. In the original parenting plan, the father also may get the child Mondays and Tuesdays after school and return to Mrs. Maples when she gets out at 7:30 p.m. That is not the case anymore. And even in Ms. Maples' words in her text, that doesn't work. And I believe that she also has a different work schedule. I believe she works for the school now. So her schedule is Monday to Friday, and she gets out earlier than 7:30. So that's not workable anymore. So, Judge, because it's a request for a modification of residential schedule, as you know, it's a lower thresholds, but preponderance of the evidence. The case Armbrister versus Armbrister, the Supreme Court case, which I'm sure you are aware of that case, did provide the trial courts with the analysis of how you go about determining whether there's a material change in circumstances, and it would include if it affects the welfare of the child, foreseeable circumstances such as going to school, getting older, having different developmental needs. And so in this case, we submit that all of these changes does affect Rhett's welfare in a meaningful way. And as it relates to the change in or modification of the child support, it would be inequitable for my client to continue, and Mrs. Maples is agreeable to continue the Thursday to Tuesday, but my client not have credit for that in the child support worksheet. And he has been providing financially when he has the child. So Mrs. Maples is not giving him, and rightfully so, because Mr. Jones, my client, is amenable to providing for his son. And he's gone above, over and beyond what the child support order was. He's been providing for extra needs for this child, and that will be shown in the proof. Thank you, Judge.
Ms. Roberts?
Your Honor, again, here's my client changed jobs, he changed jobs. She had a afterborn child. He now is expecting an afterborn child. So originally, we filed just to modify the child support. If I could, Your Honor, back on May 7th of 2020, the existing parenting plan was filed with this court. Both parties were represented at the time, and of course, Ms. Willie was designated as the primary residential parent. The father was afforded residential time with the child every other weekend from Friday at 6 until Sunday at 6. And additionally, he could pick up the child from daycare on Monday and Tuesday and keep the child till 7:30 because my client's work schedule was such that she worked on those days and he was able to pick the child up at daycare. The parties, again, mutually agreed that he could have the child from Thursday afternoon until Tuesday because it just merged that schedule together. His work schedule changed, her work schedule changed. That is what the child is used to, that's what the child has done, and that's our proposal as far as adapting to this child. There is no basis just to go and just do a 50-50 just because he wants it.
You're agreeable to keeping the Thursday through Tuesday?
Yes, Your Honor, every other weekend. So he has the child 10 days.
He has it 5 days in a row, 10 days out of the month.
Yes, sir. And that's what the parties have been doing. They both stipulated and agreed to that without the necessity of a court order.
Which I think is commendable.
To extend the father's time so he can have blocks of time with the child. This is consistent with his work schedule and consistent. The child is now in school going to Van Leer. That's where my client resides. She works at the school system, and she works at Burns, but the child has started school there, and his friends and his associations are there. And again, we have no problem in adapting what was established by the court, or not what was established by the court, but what the parties agreed to as was in their child's best interest. And then just to come up and say, hey, because we agreed to just encapsulate the time instead of doing a Monday and Tuesday where you just get from after school, spend the night with it. That's just not a basis to come up and say, because you agreed to a modification, now we want more. The consistency of the child in school, both families that the child experiences with, the consistency that the child has had, and that this schedule has worked. And that's where we think that the court should just adopt that schedule, take the party's income. And again, so what we're going to be doing is, we filed this petition, so you've got a modification from the date that we filed. My client then, in August, after she filed the petition, in August, she had her afterborn child, so the modification from the date of the filing until her afterborn child was born, then she has a credit for an afterborn child, and that will be the number of days based on what he has now, up and until time when he has an afterborn child, which I think is I was inquiring, but I think his child is due in July. Is that correct? So in July, there would be a further modification whenever that child comes into effect. Then, Your Honor, we do have an issue of a contempt that we filed because the father, during his residential time, had the child baptized, and they're supposed to make joint decisions with the mother having it. Religion is one of the factors, and the court, I'm sure, is well aware of the factors that, and the court decisions that have been set down, especially on baptism, when it's supposed to be a joint decision-making, and he did not include the mother in that.
Certainly.
Case. Over the lunch hour, I had a conversation. You ruled on the Knopfsinger case. It was the
Yes.
California matter.
Yes.
And they had the hearing today,
Okay.
and the California judge dismissed the petition in California.
Ah.
At 1:30 on Friday, your order was entered, and it said, my motions for temporary financial support were continued, and you set it at 1:30 for a status conference.
Yeah, that was just to determine whether or not the California court
That's what
was
I
gonna
wanted
assert.
that's what I wanted to clarify, because my motions aren't set for Friday. It was just a status conference.
And it was really, if that is the case, then self-apparent that we now have jurisdiction.
I just wanted to make sure of that, because I'll reach out to Mr. Walker when it, on the break, because he had something in the morning, and I think he was going to appear via Zoom or whatever. So I just wanted to make sure that you were aware. I don't know
I
what else.
wasn't, but I appreciate.
Well, I
you
just
being-
found out over the lunch hour. So
Okay.
I wanted to make sure you knew that I should have an order, and so there should be no need for that status conference, and we'll just have to agree on resetting my motions.
All right. Well,
Okay.
That sounds fine. Did you hear all of that, Madam Clerk? The Knopfsinger hearing at 1:30 on Friday is off. So. Yeah, is that supposed to hurt my feelings? All right. All right, Ms. Hendrickson.
Yes, Judge, I'll call my client
All
instead.
right, Mr. Jones, if you'll come forward, please.
Mr. Jones, state your name for the record, please.
Gregory Kyle Jones.
Okay. And you have a minor child with Mrs. Maples.
I do.
And what is his name?
William Rhett Jones.
How old is he?
He's 7.
7 years old. And your current parenting plan, that was established in May 7 of 2020, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And he was what, 2 years old at the time?
2.5.
2.5 years old, okay. And what was your marital status at the time the parenting plan was established?
I was not married at the time.
Okay, and neither was Mrs. Maples now, correct? She was not married at the time? too?
Correct.
Okay. And since then, have you been married?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're married to Miss Kristen Jones, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And she's with child right now? Is that correct?
Absolutely, yes,
And when is her due date?
ma'am. The end of July.
End of July, okay. Do you know what, is it a girl or a boy, or is that a
It'll
secret?
be a little girl.
A little girl,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, and then, so Mrs. Maples has since been married too, is that right?
Yes,
Okay, and she has a baby
correct.
with Mr. Maples, is that
Right.
correct? Do you
Yes,
know
ma'am.
how old her child
I'm
is?
not,
You don't
I
know?
don't know for sure.
Okay. All right, so who currently reside in your household?
So you just have myself, my wife Kristen, my stepson Noah. He's actually 12 now.
Okay,
And then Rhett is with us the 5 days.
okay. So your wife, Kristen, has her son Noah, and Noah's how old now again?
12.
12 years old. And what is Kristen's residential schedule with Noah?
We have him all week. He goes to his dad's every other weekend, Friday
Every
and
other
Sunday.
weekend. Okay.
And then there's a lot of exceptions where they work it out and he goes to spend extra time with his dad.
Okay. All right. And so where were you employed at the time the parenting plan was established?
I'm wanting to say I was at Material Handling Inc.
Okay. And what was your schedule at the time?
I was working 5 days a week,
Okay.
typically 7 to 4.
Okay. And did that change at some point?
Yes.
Okay. And so what did it change to?
So then I had swapped to Toyota Material Handling Inc. And then in the spring of 2022, they adopted the 4 days. We work 4 10s, and then it's
Okay.
a rotating day. So let's just say this week I'm off Monday, the next week I'm off Tuesday. And
Okay.
it just keeps going.
Okay. And from what time to what time is your shift there?
It's pretty flexible. It's whenever you start, that's when you start your 10 hours.
Okay. Like for example, the other day, did you work yesterday? or
Most of
other
the time
day?
I'm working 6 to 4:30.
6 to
That's
4:30.
typical.
That's your typical
Yes,
time.
ma'am.
Okay. And how many hours a week do you typically put in?
40. I mean, I don't get a lot of overtime. I
Okay.
have gotten some overtime here recently because I've been doing some extra training just to try to further my education in what I'm doing.
Okay. And we provided Ms. Roberts with your income information. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you this.
Thank you.
You can tell me what those are?
Yeah, this is last year's W-2 and then a statement for May 2nd, which would be a 2-week pay stub.
2-week period of this year, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so for your W-2 2024, does it state that your gross income, and I'm looking at with the social security wages, it was $61,091.49?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. 61,000, yes. Okay. And then for your pay stub for May, that was a pay date of May 2, this is a 2-week period?
Yes.
Okay. And your hourly rate, it states 39.95? Is that right?
No, regular is 33.
I'm sorry, 33.95.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I misread that. And in this pay period, you put in about 77 hours plus 1 hour of overtime,
Yes.
correct? Okay. And so your gross income on this is $2,962
Yes.
dollars
Yes,
and
ma'am.
14 cents.
Yes.
Your Honor, I would like to enter that as an exhibit.
Mark it as Exhibit 1.
For the May pay stub, $2,962.14. Gross pay on the left side. So, Mr. Jones, in your current parenting plan, tell us how many days Mrs. Maples was assigned, and then how many days for you?
I'd have to do the math, but specifically in the parenting plan, it states that I get my son every other weekend,
Okay.
from Friday to Sunday.
So that's 275 days for her and 90 days for you.
Right.
Sound right? Okay.
Right.
So you get read under that parenting plan every other weekend, Friday to Sunday, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then there's a stipulation there that Monday and Tuesday you may also get him after school, and then return to Mrs. Maples at 7:30 p.m. Is that correct?
That would have been the current.
In the
yes.
current,
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
And so, what is the current schedule now?
So since July of 23, we have, right before he established school, I initiated a conversation about going ahead and seeing about getting my son more. And she agreed that we would do every other Thursday to the following Tuesday. So I pick him up from school Thursday, I take him to school, pick him up Friday, have the weekend, take him to school, pick him up Monday, and then take him to school Tuesday, to which she picks him up from school.
And so, so you have been doing that for about 2 years now, is
Yes,
that
ma'am.
right?
Yes, ma'am.
And how has that affected Brett? Has he adjusted to
Oh,
that
he
schedule?
adjusted very well. He knows when I'm picking him up. He knows when he's going to his mother's. He's done very well.
And so because you testify that your work schedule has changed, how does that affect the time that you spend with Brett?
So in the summer, the days that I do have off that I have him is great, because we just get that whole day together. And then usually me and him and Noah are usually going and doing some kind of outdoor activity of some sort. So it's been
What about
great.
during the school time? Are you able to spend more time with him?
Yeah, I get to take him to school and then pick him up, and he loves it when I'm the first one in line. So when I'm off, I can be the first one in line.
Okay.
And then we just have that whole evening to spend together.
And so right now, it appears that Mrs. Maples is agreeable to the Thursday to Tuesday.
Right.
But we're asking if the court will allow you to have a 50-50 type situation where it's a
Yes, ma'am.
Sunday to Sunday or Friday to Friday,
Yes, ma'am.
whichever. So, would your schedule allow for that?
Absolutely.
Okay. And do you have the willingness to take on more parenting responsibilities if given the opportunity?
More than willing. Yes, ma'am.
Tell the court, Rhett has, he's 6 years old now, so has he gotten into different types of activities that he's able to do with you?
Yes, ma'am. And he's 7 again, but
7 years
yeah.
old, I'm sorry. He was 6 during this.
Yes. He recently got into soccer, so when he was with me, I don't know anything about soccer, but I definitely tried to learn some stuff, just to be able to spend time with him. I make all the soccer games, as many practices as I can. Baseball, I coached his baseball team multiple years. We just do everything. He's right here with me all the time. Like, we're always together.
Okay. In terms of the day-to-day needs for Rhett, tell the court what is your participation in that during your parenting time?
I just make sure that he's got everything he needs. We play, make sure he's eating good. Anytime he's eating something new, I always send that to his mother, because we just try to make sure that he's eating healthier.
Okay.
And he's really picky, so when he eats something new, we make sure to let each other know.
All right. Speaking of your communication with Mrs. Maples, describe how is the communication between you and Mrs. Maples progress? It's been 5 years now since
Yes, ma'am.
that parenting plan was established.
Sometimes it can be a little tricky, but for the most part, it's really good. Usually, if I need him for a day, that I have something planned that I know he would like to be a part of, I communicate that to her, and she'll usually accommodate that, and we'll swap some days around, you know, or vice versa. It's for the most part, it's really good. And then up until now, I mean, it's been really good in the past few years. So
Okay. Had there been communications where there was some conflict between the two of you?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I'm going to show you. Do you recognize that text messaging?
Yes, ma'am.
And who are in that text messaging? Between,
So this was when she decided to move Rhett to the different ballpark. This would be me and her texting back and forth.
so it's between you and Mrs. Maples?
Yes.
Do you remember when this was?
This was last spring.
Last spring of 2024? Okay. And so just give us an idea of what's going on with this text messaging.
So Rhett had decided to play T-ball first year, and I had been coaching for numerous years at Buckner Park in Dixon. I was going to coach him again, and just as before, and it just all of a sudden he signed up in Charlotte, and this was I was asked to be a coach, so in that usually you get your own child as the coach.
Okay.
But another guy was there and said that he was keeping him, and then it just kind of got into an argument because Aaron, which was the other coach, told me that he would have to check with the mother. Oh,
Well, I don't know if it's actual hearsay unless it's being introduced to prove the truth of the matter. What's the purpose of introducing a statement?
Just to explain why he sent a message that's, it's not very savory, but we're trying to give a background of the text message that my
Well,
client sent.
avoid quoting. You can't quote what somebody else says. You can explain why you did a certain thing. I am of the opinion that, at least I don't know whether it's actual hearsay, unless the purpose for which it's introduced, but I'll sustain the objection at the moment.
Let me ask you a different question.
Sure.
So would you agree that this text message that you sent Mrs. Maples, was that an appropriate text that you sent to her?
No, I mean, it wasn't very tasteful, but I mean, I've learned from then, and I'm doing a lot better now. I mean,
And to be clear, this was sent to her in the spring of 2024, is that right?
yes.
And you basically told her here, I'll just rephrase, Judge.
Sustained.
Okay, so after this text message that you sent, was there any other messages that you sent to her that's, a little unsavory or, just using language that should not have been used?
Yes.
Okay. Judge, I would like to enter that as an exhibit. Okay, so do you recognize the text messaging?
Yes, ma'am.
And who are the participants in that text messaging?
Me and Miss Maples.
Okay. And then, so this text messaging, can you explain what's going on in this text messaging?
Yes, ma'am. I actually help a friend of mine. We manage some property that he owns. I happened to be out there that day. It's about 5 minutes from the school. His wife was going to pick up their children from the school, and I was just asking Miss Maples if I could have Kimmy pick my son up from school. It was my day to have him, and just bring him to where I was.
Okay, who is Kimi?
That is my friend Justin. It's his wife.
Okay, and you didn't give me a date on this. When did this text occur?
It would have been last year.
Okay,
He
was
was in
it
kindergarten.
around the springtime, you think?
Yeah.
Around May of
Yeah, because we were
2024?
planting crops. What we were
Okay.
doing.
All right, and then, so you had a little bit of a back and forth between you and Mrs. Maples, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. As far as you know, have there been any other text messaging between you and her, aside from these two here regarding the coaching and the pickup situation,
The only thing that comes to mind for me is the issue with the baptism.
the baptism? Judge, I would like to enter that as an exhibit. Let me ask you this, those two text messaging that we entered, does that in any way show how your communication had been in the past 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was a little bumpy, but it's very few instances.
And so it does not, it does not portray the overall
No,
characterization of your communication.
No.
Well, how would you describe your communication?
I would say our communication is, I mean, if you had to put it in a percentage, 98% great and 2% need to work on.
All right, you mentioned the baptism, so let's talk about that. When was your son, when was he baptized?
I don't even remember that date right off the top of my head.
Was it last year,
Yes,
back in August?
yes.
Does that make, okay. So tell the court, was that a pre-planned event
No,
for your
ma'am.
son?
No.
Okay. Were there any conversations that were had before then?
So we had been talking about filling up the baptism pool. And it was just an overheard conversation between my in-laws, which are the pastors at the church. And then Rhett just overheard it and asked me that night, hey, what does being baptized mean? The boy just believes in God. That was the only thing that we knew, was that they might be doing some baptisms.
Okay. So that conversation, was there anything about you having knowledge that your son was going to get baptized the
Not at all.
following day?
Not at all.
Okay. So then let's go to the following day, Sunday.
Right.
You all went to church, and who was with you?
So my wife was with me, my stepson Noah, and Rhett.
Okay. And then, so tell the court what happened then.
So we just had a regular service, and then all of a sudden, it was just an altar call to anybody that wanted to be baptized. They could come on down and be baptized. Noah decided he wanted to do it, and then Rhett looked up at me and said, "Daddy, can I be baptized today?" And I said, "Son, that's between you and God. It's not between me. It's and you." And that was it. He just went with them. I didn't get baptized that day. My wife didn't get baptized that day. That was just it. That's what happened.
Well, had you known that was going to happen, who would you have invited?
Had I known, my
Yeah.
mother, just like she's here today,
And who else?
I would have invited her. I would have at least let her know that our church doors are open.
Okay. And there was a text message that was, Okay, so you testified that had you known, you would have told the mother about this.
Right.
Sustained.
Do you recognize that text messaging?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, who sent it looks like a video in there. Who sent that?
Right. So that was all the time I had to do. I took a video of it so that she could at least see it.
Okay. And explain to the court, so you texted, will you read your message to Mrs. Maples there?
Our boy decided to accept Jesus as his Lord and Savior today. Just wanted you to know. We talked about it last night, and he wanted to get baptized.
Okay. What did you mean when you said we talked about it last night
That
and he
was-
wanted to get
Right.
baptized?
That was me explaining to him what baptizing meant.
Okay.
Then he wanted to get baptized was meant as he wanted to get baptized. Like, he just sporadically asked me that day if he could be baptized.
On what day?
The day of that Sunday, the day of the altar call.
Okay. And then, so read the next messages there.
So she says that she would have loved an invite to that. And I said, well, I didn't know, so that's my fault. I figured y'all had a church.
Okay. So what did you mean by that when you said, I figured you all had a church?
That if she wanted him to be baptized at her church, I had no problem with that.
Okay. Was there ever any discussion about baptism in the last 5 years since the parenting plan was established?
Not at all.
Okay. And as far as you know, was Mrs. Maples objectionable to your son being baptized?
No.
Okay. And can you read the last message there from her?
Oh,
Oh, this is yours. Yeah, can you read that?
so where she responded? Or
Yes.
we do, but that is something that is a milestone in his life, and I would have come from my buddy.
And then read the next message.
So all I have is the cutoff where it says, I did my best, and I'm pretty sure it says I took a good video.
Just a minute. I'll get back to that. So then, just to recap that situation with the baptism, did you have any knowledge that your son was going to get baptized before it happened?
None.
Tell me about Kristen, your wife, her relationship with Rhett.
She treats him just like if he were hers. I mean, she shows up to everything. As long as, our other son doesn't have something going on, we have to split then because one has to take one. But she's always looking out for his best interests. She helps with schoolwork. She helps with any special assignments. If she needs to grab something on the way for him, she gets it. We go out of the way, or she will specifically go out of the way to make him something for dinner if we know that he won't eat it.
Okay. And does she help with, day-to-day needs such as picking up bread and things of
Yeah,
that nature?
she's absolutely anytime.
Okay. What is the relationship between her son Noah and Brett?
Oh, they're best buddies. They just run around all the time playing, just as two brothers would do. I mean,
Okay.
he tells everybody, "That's my brother." They love each other.
Now, Mrs. Maples is married to Jacob Maples, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And how is your relationship with Jacob?
It's great. I mean, I think very highly of Jacob. I don't think we've had any disputes of anything. I even went out of the way and made sure that my son called him for Father's Day. I mean, that says a lot, I think. So I do like Jacob, and it's been really good as far as communication up until this point.
Okay. And so just to talk about, again, I'm sorry, I'm skipping here, on the communication situation. So aside from those two text messages that we have entered earlier where there's some conflict, were there communications between you and Mrs. Maples where there's cooperation?
More than I could count.
And anytime there's some message about, reminders about, hey, Rhett needs this and that, how do you respond to that?
I usually volunteer to get it. That's, if you're asking, if he needs something, just like soccer, I went and made sure that she signed him up for soccer, and I checked if I needed to pay for that. She had paid for it, so I asked if I could get the ball, the shoes, the shin guards. So I provided all that.
Okay. So would you say that you're working together basically
Yeah,
for the best interest of Rhett?
absolutely.
In
That's
that
what I try to
regard.
do every single day.
Um, that's all the questions I have for now, Judge.
All right. Ms. Roberts, you may cross-examine.
Just keep it up there.
You've been at the job that you've had since these your classes. Sorry, you might need. So, Mr. Jones, you've been at the job with Toyota Material Handling since 2022. Is that correct? Is that what you said?
No, that's not what I said.
Okay.
I was saying that we,
Oh.
our, well, they call it the BOLD initiative, so it turned over to 4 days a week.
Okay.
That's all I was meaning.
Okay. That's what I was just.
Sure.
You, at the time, you and now Miss Maples y'all were never married, and you had Rhett out of
Correct.
wedlock.
Correct.
We came to court, I think you were represented by Jared Creasy, the now juvenile court judge, is that correct? Who represented you at the time?
Yeah,
And
we didn't go to court.
Well, again, the court entered an agreement.
Okay, sure.
When I say go to court, I didn't mean actually.
I'm not real familiar with them.
I apologize, that was inartfully put. But after y'all separated and were no longer living together.
Yes, ma'am.
You got a lawyer, she got a lawyer.
Right.
I represented her and Jared Creasy represented you.
Correct.
And we entered into an agreed parenting plan.
Right.
Ms. Maples was designated as the primary residential parent, correct? And you got every other weekend, plus Mondays and Tuesdays, because she worked late on those
Sure.
days. Is
Yes,
that right?
Mhm.
Excuse me, and then any other time that y'all agreed.
Right.
And for the most part, you and Ms. Maples worked well together.
Yep.
She kept you notified of sickness and doctor's appointments and, hey, he wants to do this.
Sure.
And changing, I think there was an issue, maybe changing some daycare at some point in time, or, getting enrolled in school. You knew about her getting married and all of that stuff, correct?
I guess.
And then
I specifically recall the daycare issue.
right. And then when your life changed and you became involved with somebody else, you made sure to cooperate and let her know, hey, we're serious, we're becoming and we're getting married.
Right.
And and Rhett was able to participate in
Right.
both wedding ceremonies, right?
Mhm.
Y'all were able to coordinate that so that Rhett got the best of both parents and got introduced to his new step parents.
Sure.
And again, there's not really any conflict in the fact between you and Miss Maples about communicating when it comes to, for the most part,
Sure.
when it comes to
Absolutely.
Rhett.
Yes, ma'am.
And at some point in time, Miss Maples changed her employment and became employed by the Dixon County School
Okay.
System, correct? You knew about
Yeah.
that?
Right. Well, way after that, but yes, I'm
Right.
aware.
And at the time, after the adoption of the parenting plan, you had left employment from material handlers,
Yeah. MHI.
MHI.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you got employed by
TMH.
Toyota.
Yeah.
And your initial time, you were still working, when you first went from MHI to Toyota, were you still working
It was the same.
5 days a week?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm.
But then Toyota decided to work,
Right. They adopted the BOLD initiative.
right. And that's when you became, And are you off on weekends, or when you said you work?
I'm always off a week.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure, because the way that you explained it, you work 4/10s with a rotating day off.
Yes, ma'am, through the week.
Okay, and that's
So
what I
Monday
wanted.
through Friday. Yeah.
You don't work 4/10s. If you work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, then you don't go, you're off Friday and then work 4 more days. I just wanted to make sure we understood
Yeah,
what your
it's
rotating
just-
schedule
it's
is.
just-
It's within the 5 days.
Yes, ma'am.
You're always off.
You could get called out on a weekend, but I don't ever.
Right.
It's kind of like they'll call and ask.
So are you off? You'll work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and be off Friday?
No, that's the rotating part. So if I would, let's just say I worked Monday my bold day was this Monday,
Uh-huh.
this week. So let's say I was off. So next week I'll be off Tuesday, the next Wednesday, the next Thursday, the next Friday.
Okay, that's what I'm saying, is you rotate, so you may work, you're off Monday, then you would work Thursday, Friday, you would work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
Yes, ma'am.
Friday. So
Yes,
those are
ma'am.
your 4 days.
Yes,
Then the next week you would work Tuesday.
exactly.
So you would
Well,
work,
I'd be off Tuesday.
you would be
I'd
off
work Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, you would work Monday, off Tuesday.
Exactly.
They'd work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then
Yes,
you'd
ma'am.
be Monday, Tuesday, off Wednesday, work Thursday, Friday.
Right.
And then it rotates from that.
Yes.
Okay. And so when you changed, and when y'all discussed this issue of changing, where you would just get, instead of every other weekend and just having him on Monday and Tuesday from after school till she got off work at 7:30. Was the basis of that change her job change or your job change? You understand what I'm saying? Was a job change anything
I
about it?
don't think it had anything to do with it.
Okay, that's what I thought. It was just a situation on where y'all discussed
Yeah, I mean, once again, it was a good communication.
good communication, and instead of kind of, you get every other weekend, it's like, let's give you 5 days every other weekend in a bulk, so Rhett is there and not come back and forth so much.
Yeah,
And he's adapted well to that schedule.
yeah.
Your family has adapted well to that schedule.
Sure.
Y'all, have you changed Noah's time? so that
That's
his-
totally between my wife and,
If you'll let me finish my question.
okay.
You testified that Noah's father gets him every other weekend.
Mhm.
So my question is Noah's every other weekend consistent with yours in getting Rhett? Did y'all
Yes.
make sure that the boys
Yes.
are together?
We make sure that anytime they're together.
So the weekend, your wife, unless there's something that they agree separately, but consistently, routinely, Noah and Rhett are
Same
together at
schedule.
your house
Yes, ma'am.
on a Thursday through Tuesday.
Yes.
And then the next weekend, when Rhett would be with his mom for the
That's when
weekend,
Noah goes.
then Noah would
Yes,
go
ma'am.
with his dad.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And that's worked out, and the boys have done well with that?
Yes.
And that's
It's all
worked
been
out
good.
great?
Yes, ma'am.
And if I would, in looking at it, you've submitted, and I believe it made Exhibit 1. I don't know whether the W-2 and his year-to-date income, was that made one exhibit or 2?
It's one exhibit.
Okay. Exhibit 1 had your 2024 W-2, which reflected your gross income at $61,091.49, I believe. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And then your year-to-date for 2025 showed $25,387.32, if that's what's reflected on there. And if I counted right, you get paid on a Friday?
I think so.
Oh, well,
I don't
it-
ever look at it. I'm sorry.
That paycheck stub, I think, so I didn't bring it up here, but I think it had the, how do you get paid? You get paid weekly, monthly,
Bi-weekly.
bi-weekly? So every 2 weeks you get paid,
Yes, ma'am.
and do you get paid by direct deposit? Or-
Yes.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. I hardly ever go in there and look at
Okay.
it.
But again, if I look at it on May 2nd, and again, in looking at your stuff, I counted, if you got paid Fridays, that's 18 Fridays from the first of the year until then. So you were on track this year. If I counted the $25,387.32 divided by the 18 weeks, that would leave you about $1,410 a week you getting paid times 52. You're on track to make a little over $73,000 this year.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
So my question, and again, we'll talk about the math later.
Sure.
I went to law school because there wasn't a math requirement. So again,
I'm with you.
yeah, whichever, if those figures are correct, you're on track to make, let's see, 9, 10, 11, about $13,000 more this year.
Okay.
So did you get a pay increase? Because you're making, it looks like you're making your hourly rate is $33.95 an hour
Sounds right.
right now.
Right.
And did you get a pay increase from last year?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, do you know?
Not specifically, but
Are you scheduled to get, do they do pay increases?
we just
with-
do like a yearly review, but you never get a specific. Like I know, I mean, my boss told me one year it was like 50 cents.
Okay. But again, they just do that across the board usually
Yeah.
annually.
Yes, ma'am.
So again, if we're looking at you getting 30, and do you know when they do it? I just want to make sure your income.
I think
is
it's
correct.
in July or June,
Okay.
something like that.
So we can think about this May paycheck stub. You would have gotten your increase by January of 2025, and you might be scheduled for another increase in July, because a lot of companies do fiscal year rather than,
Right. Yeah, we do fiscal year. Yeah.
you do fiscal. So from July 1 until June 30 is when they do it,
Yes.
instead of January to
Yes.
December.
Yeah.
So you should, for the whole year of 2025, you're pretty confident that you were making $33.95 an hour.
Yeah. That sounds right.
Now, the summer under the parenting plan, y'all do the regular schedule, but each of y'all get an extended
A week.
time. A week.
Right.
And y'all been able to coordinate and do that.
Yeah, and actually, some of mine's not even been in the summer. It's been in January most of the time. That's when we plan our vacation. So,
Okay. So there's not been any type of controversy
No, ma'am.
in doing that?
Nope.
Okay. Now, these messages that you put in, you just put in 2 text messages to show a couple of isolated instances when y'all got a little snippy, for lack
It's
of a
just,
better way to put it.
from where I've changed my phone over, I can only go through so many, but I tried my
Okay.
best to go through.
Well, I think the next one would be, were these made joint exhibits or separate exhibits? The 2 text messages?
Separate.
Okay, so I think the
We have a
first,
total of 3 text messages.
okay. The first one that we talked about, that you were questioned about, I wanted to go over.
It would be Exhibit 2. Do you want him to have a copy of it?
Exhibit 2, have you still got one, or did it get submitted in?
I have.
Okay. Is this the one, where she texts you, she's in the box and you're just on the plane, is that correct? If I could-
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am, yeah.
So this starts out a text from Hugh. This had nothing to do with us. We didn't care if all 3 of y'all were coaching on the same team. Aaron picked Rhett, I am guessing, because he had him last year. Did you go to the draft pick? Aaron had no clue that Justin was coaching and that you were helping. It's not Aaron's fault. Give him the benefit of the doubt. He had no idea you were involved with Justin. Who's Justin?
That's my buddy.
Your buddy?
Mhm.
Okay. And so the predecessor to this this text message was, you got angry at her about the fact that Red had gotten picked up by this Aaron to coach his team.
Right.
And
When she
Aaron
knew I
had
was
been his
coming there to
coach the year
coach.
before.
Sure.
And then you had said you had coached him for years. That was your word.
I coached for years at Buckner.
And it was 1 year. He
I
had
coached him 1 year.
1 year.
Yes.
And then the year after that, you didn't coach and he was on Aaron's team?
Yep, he went to Aaron's team.
He went to Aaron's
Yep.
team.
That's when he moved to Charlotte.
Okay. And that was, and he went from Buckner where you coached him, and then the next year he went to Charlotte and he was on Aaron's team.
Right.
And Aaron just kept him, correct?
He tried to keep him, yes.
He tried to keep him.
Mhm.
But had you signed up officially to coach?
Yes. I did.
Or-
It was
or had Justin-
Josh Profit. You get 3 coaches in that age group.
Mm-hmm.
You had Josh Profit, Justin Adams, Josh Profit, and then it was me. So
And-
yes.
So again, making sure that we're clear on this, you had already signed up and run your background check and you were listed as a coach.
Yes.
Okay. But you weren't at the pick.
No, I couldn't be at the pick. Only head coaches can go to the pick.
But you got mad at her because of something some other man did.
I got mad because she knew that I was going to coach.
Well, but this draft in Charlotte,
Mm-hmm.
again, is not where they're pulling stuff out. I mean, the coaches just get together and do it, don't they?
They get to go in a snake draft. They pick the kids' names.
Right, without
Yep.
parents sitting there saying, pick
It's
my kid,
just
pick
head
my kid.
coaches. Just
Huh?
head coaches.
Just the coaches. So
Mm-hmm.
how was she to know? I mean, why were you blaming her for y'all in the
Specifically because I reached out to Aaron directly and I asked him,
Mm-hmm.
had he had known, he already knew that I was coaching and he would be on my team. She had responded to me saying, or he responded to me saying that he had to reach out to her and ask her permission to let him be on my team.
And she said, and then this is her response. It was nothing to do with us. We don't care if all 3 of y'all coach. He just kept it. And then your response, yes, he did. Josh Profit done the draft. I couldn't make it, plus I'm just an assistant. But Josh told him it was him, Justin, and me coaching.
Right.
Well, I don't know, Kyle. I didn't tell him to pick Rhett. I'm sure he didn't know. I'm just trying to be fair here. I am sure he will resolve it. He's an awesome guy. Is that right? I mean,
Yes. Yeah.
but
you're
you
correct.
got angry at her over something like that.
And I probably went a little too far. I shouldn't have. I'll admit that.
But then you went on in the second page of that. All the drama is because you have issues with my wife. How about this? Don't ever say anything about my wife. You ever see or hear me talking about Jacob? Nope, never. But it's easy for you to disrespect my wife and family, and Rhett misses the chance for his father to be involved. That's what you want anyways. It's all on you, just like ripping him away from me by going to Charlotte. Keep him with Aaron. Don't call me for anything unless it involves my son. She responded, I don't have any issues with your wife, never have. I have never said anything bad about her because I don't have anything bad to say. You can coach your child. I have said this multiple times, Kyle. All I said was that I didn't want to be left out and for me to be involved with Rhett. I mean, why do you put your wife in the middle of it?
That was because there was an incident when I coached in T-ball.
2 years prior.
Yes.
So you
She got
can't-
all bent out of shape because my wife came in the dugout to help for one game. Yes.
Which would have been a year and a half prior to this.
Yeah. Sure.
So you think you can't let stuff go?
Oh, I'm pretty good at letting stuff go. But
Okay.
I knew exactly what would happen.
And what was that?
She would raise a stink about my wife helping if she had to help.
The next text message. I just asked you first, but I have to go to Justin's for a little while this evening. I'm about to head there, but I was going to see if you cared if Kimmy picked up Rhett. I'll just keep him, it'll just keep me from having to go as well. If it's an issue, I'll just go anyways. Now, you had said on direct examination that you were already over at Justin's plant.
Mhm.
But on this, it says, I'm about to head there. So were you not telling the truth on your direct examination that you were already
No,
there?
I was about to head to get Rhett.
Oh, you were about to head to get read.
Yeah, I was just trying to make sure if it was okay if
Okay.
Kimmy could grab him.
And and her text message, I can always pick him up and bring him to you. I'd rather do that. No, she could go pick her up and bring him to you. And then you got an attitude again, didn't you?
I just said that's not the point.
That's not the point. Don't worry about it. If it's such a problem, then I don't want anyone else picking him up either. You or Jacob. Not your mom, not anyone.
Hmm?
She comes back, family can pick him up, Kyle, and I don't mind picking him up and bringing him to you. I'm at home.
I noticed that Ms. Roberts' dramatic reading of this, she tends to emphasize her client's reading of
Nice.
that in a very calm manner, and yours is a very angry.
Well,
I want you to understand that's just part of being a good
I
lawyer.
always say this is very hard, and it's nothing against anybody, but it's really, that's the problem with text, is you don't
Well, I
know the
agree with you.
emotion.
Some
You
of the
don't,
worst
you don't know the
conversations
emotion, and for me, it's like I'm trying to go back and,
Well, I'm just pointing out the fact
it's,
that
I know, I'm fine.
I've
You're-
known
you're-
Ms. Roberts a long time, and I'm well aware of that. There's nothing wrong with what she's doing, but I'm
Sure.
aware of the fact that in her reading, you come across a little harsher than her client. But the fact of the matter is that text messages don't always convey.
Exactly.
That's
Yes, sir.
why ideally people could pick up the phone and talk to each other instead of text
Yes.
messaging.
Judge Wolfe and I are of the generation who
I know.
we
it's-
didn't have text messages for a long
Y'all
time.
have some beepers?
And beepers was, that was it, so,
You're due.
uh-huh. But
You're
again,
okay.
I'm not sure how to take that. So,
but it's true. That's the problem.
sometimes the truth hurts.
Yeah. But again, she offered the kid, again, the whole point
Yes,
is that
ma'am.
you said, hey, can Kimmy pick him up? She says, hey, I'm at home, I can bring him to you.
Yes, ma'am. And coming back and reading this is like, I don't know what I had going on that day. I don't know why I got upset, because I should have just said, yeah, I mean, if you want to grab him. But I don't know. I just, for whatever reason, I was just saying if one of our friends, she's met him, could just grab him, they're coming right back. I honestly, I have no idea what was going on that day.
But again, just like you're asking today, if she picked him up and brought him to you, she could spend a few minutes with y'all's boy.
Sure, and I understand that. That's fine. Yes,
And
ma'am.
again, but you, text message, things like that, you got to the point where you can't, and you text, your mother is not to pick him up, period.
Right.
And you understand that's a way overreaction.
Sure. That's very harsh. Yes,
I
ma'am.
mean, you know her mother, she's worked for the
I do.
school board for years and years.
Yes, ma'am.
She has a teacher's schedule,
Yeah.
and you retaliated by just saying nobody's gonna pick him up. But no point in time did Miss Maples ever retaliate and say, okay, well then your wife can't pick him up.
No,
She didn't.
no,
She didn't retaliate, did she?
she did not.
And again, you picked these two things out, and they're an anomaly, if you would, because for the most part, y'all don't get into this
No,
kind of
it's not
griping
often at all.
contest.
Nope.
Y'all are able to set aside you want your child with you 24/7, but you understand you got to share.
Sure.
And for the most part, y'all are able to do that.
For the most part, yes.
And if something changes and one of y'all have something coming up, y'all typically can call one another and
We
say, hey,
usually let
look,
each other know way in advance.
this is happening, can I get him today rather than tomorrow? And y'all both do that.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, this baptismal thing.
Mhm.
And again, as Judge Wolfe pointed out, you didn't ever just pick up the phone and call her, did you? You text.
Yes.
And the text message that was submitted in here looked like we talked about it the night before, and he got baptized today.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I see how it looks, but again, as far as like speaking it, he had overheard the conversation about baptisms. He asked me what a baptism was. I let him know what a baptism was. Sporadically, the day that we did an altar call, that's when he looked at me and said, Daddy, can I be baptized today?
Okay. And he was 6.
I'm not ever going to tell my son no. I mean, unless it's something bad. But
Well, again, did you ever consider and saying, hey, Nanny and Papa and Mama and,
No,
and all them
no.
want to be here, and
It has
let's
nothing-
schedule a time to do it.
Ma'am, it has nothing to do with my parents. It has nothing to do with her parents, me, her. That was his decision with God.
Well, but again,
That
the
was his
parenting
decision with
plan
God.
says that religious decisions will be joint, and if you can't agree, after discussion, that she gets to make the decision. Aware that the parenting plan says that?
I don't guess I read that part.
Okay, and you understand that she was raised up in church. And you were. Were you raised up in church?
I was, yes.
Okay, and you understand that she was? That
I
Do
don't
you?
understand that, no.
you didn't know that she attended church?
No, ma'am. When we were together, in the years that we were together, we went to church 2 times a year.
So neither one of y'all went?
No,
Okay. But were you familiar with her family and that they went to church?
I knew her mother went to church.
Okay. And you understand that that commitment was one that y'all should have made together?
Again, it was sporadic. It was not planned by no means, so. And I felt bad for that. I felt bad about that. I can't take it back. That was just a decision for him. If I would have known, they would have known, my mom would have known. all
Well,
my
you said
family
it
would have
didn't
known.
matter.
If it was planned, then I would have invited them. I would have invited her. I would have invited whoever. But it was not planned. There wasn't nothing I could do about it. So I did the best I could and took a video. And that was it.
Now, your child's due at the end of July, end of July. And you've not had any, this is your son, Rhett, is your only child right now, and you're expecting
Yes.
a daughter with your current wife. You have no afterborn children. Who keeps health insurance on Rhett?
I do.
And do you have the cost associated with that health insurance?
There's a breakdown in my ADP, and I think I shared that.
Well, you understand, we filed this petition back in July of last year, of 2024, asking for a modification of support.
Okay.
Okay, do you understand what the support is considered? How much the child is with you, how much the child is with her,
Sure.
the cost of health insurance, cost of daycare if there is any,
Right.
and again, any before-born or after-born children. And you don't know what the cost of your health insurance is today?
$200 and something every other week.
You don't know, you didn't bring that to court with you today.
I didn't.
You didn't submit it during your direct examination.
Yeah, pretty sure I did.
Oh, I'm sorry, when did you submit it during your direct examination? The cost of your health insurance?
I supplied it to my lawyer. I don't know. This has been going on for like a year.
Okay. Well, again, I just wanted to make sure that you submitted a paycheck stub that shows, but you have family coverage, correct?
I have his card in my wallet right now.
Well, again, who's covered under your family coverage?
My son and myself.
Okay, does your wife have separate insurance?
Yes.
Do you know how much it costs for you to have separate insurance? If you just had single insurance, do you know how much it cost?
It's half of that 200.
Do you know that, or are you guessing?
No, I asked my HR yesterday.
Have any documentation from
A
them?
text. I have a text. And they submitted it, or 2 days ago, I sent it to Miss Ellen. She may have the text.
Okay. And again, from July of 2024, when we filed this, you have effectively been getting your child 10 days a month. 5 days 1 week and 5 days.
Yes. Yes. Yep.
Hendrickson, you have redirect?
So Ms. Roberts asked you about when you all changed the schedule to Thursday to Tuesday. You were asked why you all did that. Can you clarify, why did you ask for more time with your son?
To spend more time with him.
to spend more time with him? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And did your change of schedule in your work schedule allowed you to do that?
Yes.
Okay. And do you believe that is in the best interest of Rhett for you to
Absolutely.
spend more time with him?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. On the baptism issue, would you have had the time to call Mrs. Maples when it was happening in real time?
No.
And you were asked by Ms. Roberts about those text messages that we filed with the court. And again, I asked you earlier, those two messages were isolated incident, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And I do have some text messages here that's more recent. I'd like for you to go over that and tell me, just identify those text messages. I'm not going to make you read all of that, but tell me.
Appear to be outside the scope of redirect.
Judge, so this is basically a rebuttal to Ms. Roberts' questioning regarding the communication.
What's the purpose of showing these messages?
Basically, these are text messages that are, it's showing the cooperation between the two of
I don't
them.
think that's really an issue. I think even Ms. Roberts in her cross-examination indicated that they were getting along. And I have seen enough text messages, like in the case that occurred before us, before lunch, the case that we had where the gentleman used profanity that, was just unacceptable. That's one direction. This is the opposite end. This is two people who otherwise get along, and there was some disagreement. It was a civil disagreement, and I don't find anything that was in the examples you've given to be particularly offensive, although it's, certainly shows that there was some, something that was upset, and the idea that he could exclude her mother from that was inappropriate. But I think it was acknowledged, even on cross-examination, that that was something out of the ordinary and that they usually got along. So I sustain the objection. I don't see any purpose in introducing these others.
Understand that, thank you. On the health insurance coverage, so what was it that you testified with regards to how much is your payment for your health insurance for you and Rhett?
It's like, I think it's $200 and something biweekly.
The exhibit that we entered, that was statement for May 2, 2025, it states $256.07. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah. Yes,
And
ma'am.
that's a bi-weekly payment?
Right. Yes, ma'am.
And you testify that half of that would be towards Rhett's contribution?
Sustained.
What would be the contribution just towards Rhett?
Needs that information. I questioned him about it. He is entitled to receive.
Whatever I rule on the, excuse me for interrupting, whatever I rule on the modification of the parenting plan, the calculation of child support is going to be based on current income information as well as information, even if it's not supplied today, I'm going to order it to be supplied to break down, the cost of medical insurance for him. Some verification needs to be provided so that we know exactly what he's paying and how much it costs for family coverage versus individual coverage. It's not usually a 50-50 split. It's not usually $200 for both him and his family and $100 for him. It's usually something different than that. So
Right.
we're just gonna, there's really no reason to go through a lot of that because when we're finished, I'm gonna require you all to exchange the current information and calculate everything on basic current information, so.
Yeah, Judge, he did try to get that exact number, and the HR was not able to give him an exact number. They just told him it's
Doesn't
50%.
matter, I'm gonna require them to give an exact number. I mean, I'm not assessing blame for that, I'm just simply saying whether that's been supplied, whether he attempted to get it or not is academic to me. My question is, how much is it and how can we determine it? And that's why I'm saying I will put an order down that will say that, you know, the calculation of child support needs to be based on all of the current information, and the parties will exchange informations and agree on the calculation, because it's, once we get the figures, then it goes into this computer that the state has now given us, and it should be it should be the same amount, whether you figure it or Ms. Roberts figures it, so.
That's all the questions I have, Judge.
Right. Thank you. You may step down. Ms. Hendrickson, you may call your next witness.
Judge, I call Miss Kristen Jones. She's outside. Thank you.